Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Health Coach Business Program brought to you by the Health Coach Closer Method. I am so glad to have you guys here. This is the only free and complete business training for health coaches, functional practitioners, health practitioners, basically cash-based natural health practitioners. That would be the broader term for this. Online. I do not know of any program that does what we are doing here for free. I know some programs that do something similar, except they charge you $2, $3, $4, $5, even $10,000 to go learn the business stuff. My wife and I are reinventing the wheel here, and we are doing it for free. I'm not going to say this probably in every single video, but just so you know, it is not because we are such saints. I'm not trying to get kudos from you and have you guys leave nice comments that say, wow, you guys are so amazing. It is because I've been in this space for over 10 years and I've learned quite a bit during my time here. I have realized that most of the people that get into this space are exactly like me. It goes something like this. Had health issues. Start studying natural health because Western medicine was not able to help. Then they get passionate about it. So we take it to the next level. We get a certification, or sometimes we get multiple certifications. That would be me. I fall in that category. Then we want to work in the space because how the heck else could you ever go back to a normal 9 to 5 for something that you might not be that passionate about when you just resolved health issues that doctors told you you could not resolve? You got to go share that with the world, right? You want to go help other people who are struggling in the way that you did. But you realize that these jobs aren't just lined up for you. It's not like being an accountant or something where there's one on every street and there's probably more opportunities there. That's not to say that being an accountant is easy. That's not what I'm suggesting. I'm just saying that that's a more common thing at the time of recording this. You can't just go down the street and find unlimited health coaching opportunities. So you realize, wow, I might have to start my own business. And that is what crushes most health coaches. This is the saddest thing to me because I will watch these amazing people who resolve autoimmune conditions. I've met people who have resolved cancers, mental health issues, gut issues, skin issues, whatever it might be. And the business stuff is what kills them. So the selfless version of this project is I know we're going to get a lot more people out there who are going to be doing this great work. The selfish reason for this project is because my wife and I offer multiple higher level products. Some of them are not that expensive. I mean, several $100s, but we offer higher level products that help people who are already in business for themselves optimize, get better, become more efficient. So I do different courses on how to do in-person talks and get clients. My wife is a master at the sales side of things. She has actually been a sales manager at Dr. Josh Axe's company for a while, just left there for a new offer. And I probably can't say too much about this. Let's just say there was a desire to have her back. I'll word it that way. So she knows what she's doing. She sells a course on that as well. But we're going to help you guys with more of the basics so that you can get in business. You can start getting your first clients. And when we help you make money, we know that you're going to be more inclined to want to do the higher level stuff with us so that you can get more clients, make more money, help more people, and be more efficient in your business. That is a win times 20 win as far as we are concerned. So in this episode or lesson, we're talking about pricing your packages. Again, you're going to want to go watch the first episode that we put out. So if you are finding this randomly, congrats. You happen to find the second video ever posted on this channel, even if you're years down the road. This was only the second one. So in the description, one of the first things that you're going to see is a link to the first video. It is required that you go watch that first before you do this one. It is not just to get extra views on our YouTube, although that is nice. It is because we're going to be referencing the thing that you talked about or the thing that we learned about in the first video in this one. So you can't price your packages until you know what you're shooting for, which is what we talked about in our last video. So we set your target monthly income. We set a goal. And at the time of recording this, I saw a variety of comments on that video. I think the lowest, I say that in air quotes because I'm not literally suggesting that this is low. I'm just saying that it was the lowest on the comments. I think was about $6,000 a month was someone's goal. And then the highest I had seen was around $15,000 a month. So let's put that number in the middle. We'll call it 10,000 as the example. And I'll show you kind of the stereotypical way that people might look at pricing packages as a health coach or sessions, because some people do that as well. So You might see, $500 in scenario B. That might be like, for 10 sessions or something at $50 a pop. We adamantly recommend against that for a variety of reasons. And it's not just so that you can get rich or something. It actually helps your client more to not do it this way. So we will show you that in just a moment here. More health coaching programs at this point are teaching the package idea, but I still think they're actually undercharging for what we would tell you to do. So they'll say something like $2,000, but even this, right? Let's start to look at the example on the far right here. If your goal is $10,000 a month, you either need 5 clients at $2,000 in this example or 20 clients at $500. And when the numbers are more condensed like this, I think the point I'm about to make is already probably obvious, or you're getting the hint, but you might not be picking it up yet. So let's take it more to the extremes, and I'm going to show you something here. And I'll go through all the material on this page, but I want to go to the bottom first. Tell me just intuitively, what do you think is easier? Do you think it's easier to sell 100 people on a $50 product or a session, or do you think it's easier to sell one person on a $5,000 product? Now, I'm not suggesting that these products are identical, right? You're offering more for the $5,000. That would be a ripoff if you offered the exact same thing and one person got it for 50, one got it for $5,000. I'm not saying that, right? But I'm saying, do you think something that's worth about $50 is easier to sell to 100 people, or it's easier to find one person to buy a $5,000 thing? Well, I'll tell you this, as someone who's been in this space for 10 years, I will tell you that every day of the week, I'd rather sell the one on the right than the one on the left. Even though that seems like almost crazy in the beginning. You might have picked it up because you kind of know where I was going with this, but it sounds easier on paper to sell 100 clients on a $50 thing. And that might be true in one single scenario. The scenario is when you already have the audience. When you already have the audience, it's sometimes called traffic. So traffic could be, or an audience, I'm going to use these interchangeably here. That could be your email list. That could be your social media following. Okay. It could be, this would not be traffic or an audience that you own, but it's like if you have great access to a good friend or another business owner who will happily send out your stuff or things that you're selling at any given time. It could be something like that. But generally speaking, in today's world, we're talking about one's email list or one's social media following. So if you have 100,000 people on your email list or some ridiculous number, you would be probably not watching this if you had somewhere close to that. Even if you had a fraction of that, you wouldn't be watching this maybe. Then yes, in theory, it's probably easier to sell $50 products to 100 people because $50 is cheap enough that you don't need to get on the phone with someone to sell it, right? I can send out an email today and sell a $50 product. I actually have done that before, and I will just watch the sales come in. Right? I don't need to get on the phone with someone to sell that. So if you already have the audience, this is fine. This is where you're probably starting to connect the dots already. You're like, wait, Ev, I don't have an audience. I don't have anyone on my social media. I haven't built up an email list yet. So yes, in your case, which is the vast majority of health coaches' cases, you're looking at the right option. One client is going to be easier to find giving them a $5,000 package than it ever will be to find 100 clients at $50 a pop. And there's a few other things here that we want to consider, right? When you are doing the $50 session, it becomes a very transactional relationship. Every time that you're meeting with this person, there is that pressure, both in your head and in theirs. Because they're thinking, oh my gosh, are they going to sell me another session? You're thinking, how do I get the next session out of this person? Not because you're a bad person either, just because you're trying to keep a business going and trying to keep the bills paid. So you're having to think about this all the time, right? That's not a great way to be showing up for your client. The other thing is, remember I told you, this is not just about the making money side. This is also beneficial to your client. Here's our main reason for that. You get low client commitment when they only pay $50. Also, how much can you really give your client for $50? Because there's two types of health coaches, right? There's health coaches that utilize labs, and there's health coaches that utilize more just kind of a motivational interviewing style. It's not exactly that always, but you know what I mean. You're kind of sitting down with the person, helping them with the goal setting side. This is very common with the MBHWC type health coaches. A lot of the times now, though, health coaches are utilizing labs in some way. They're utilizing supplements. So there's no way you can do a $50 session if you're utilizing the labs and supplements. If you are one of our health coaches that follows us that does not utilize labs and supplements, it might seem more realistic to do a $50 session, and I guess it would be possible in that sense, right? You're only using your time at that point. But I'm telling you, even for the person that does not utilize labs and supplements, you're going to want to understand that you're going to have a lower client commitment. They're not going to get the same results as if you get them involved with a multi-month program. I can prove this to you instantly. Were you able to get better with an hour of your time spent somewhere, reading a book, going through a course, hiring someone yourself? Is that how you got better from severe health issues? That's how you made progress, is an hour of your time and $50? No, of course not. And it sucks that it does cost money to get what we want in this space, but that's what it is right now. So you know that that's not how you got better. Why would you charge someone else for that? And just because, again, a bunch of people don't know me yet, I want to be clear about something. This is not challenging your ethics either. Because you might say, well, Ev, I wasn't doing that on purpose. I wasn't trying to be a bad person. I know. All of this usually comes from limiting beliefs. We don't believe that people out there are going to pay this stuff. We don't know how to find them. So that fuels the limiting beliefs. We have genuine ignorance around this stuff, so it fuels the limiting beliefs. We have no idea that people pay for these things. So we say we can't do that, and now our business is not going well. And for any of you that have sold sessions, you know how well this worked, man. Right? Maybe you sold a few friends, a few sessions, a few times, and now you're broke. Nothing's going well. You didn't get referrals from it because they didn't get any big transformation from it. It doesn't make sense. Whereas with the package model, you're able to put them through a system, a multi-month system. So we're not charging $5,000 to work with the person for an hour. That's not what I'm saying. We want to set something up that helps this person really get to the bottom of what's going on. So you get to decide how long that takes on average. Maybe for the clientele that you have, that's about 3 months. Maybe for the clientele you have, that's about 6 months. Maybe it's a full year. I know health coaches that only work with people for a full year. Depending on what the person that you're working with has, that might make sense. Okay? So just think about that stuff. That really matters. You got to put them through a transformational process. Something that's going to be multiple months, because that's probably how long it took you. Or it might have taken you years, but maybe with what you've learned, you can condense that now into months. That's the more realistic route with this, right? So just something to consider there. Also, you get high client commitment. Think about this. If you're watching this, you've gone through a health coaching program, almost certainly, right? I don't know how the heck you would have ended up on this area of YouTube, let alone probably 10 to 15 minutes into this video, had you not gone through a health coaching program. Do you not think that paying multiple thousands of dollars for that program made you more committed? Obviously it did, right? So this is the same thing when someone works with us one-on-one as a health coach. They're not forgetting $5,000, man. I mean, if you do this, again, for 10 years like myself, yes, you are going to have the oddball that pays thousands of dollars and then does not show up. I have not figured that one out yet. Yes, I have had that a couple of times. I can count on one hand the amount of times that it's happened, though. And again, that's after a decade in the space. 99 times out of 100, that price is going to get these people committed. When they sign up and understand that they didn't just sign up for a session, they signed up for a 6-month transformation, they are all in, man. They are committed. It also makes this a lot more predictable for you. Okay, let's take that person that was on the comments from the last video, or one of the people that said they want $6,000 a month. If we're looking at one $6,000 client, or probably more realistically two $3,000 clients, think about this. That means your whole month you can get no clients. If you just get 2 people the entire month, you're in the money. You're where you need to be. And by the way, when you actually deliver real transformations to people, you know what ends up being the number one source of your business given enough time? Referrals. No one ever had enough of a transformation in a $50 session that they're telling every single person in their life. When people's skin starts changing in 6 months, when people drop 30 pounds, when they have energy again, when they're not screaming at people because they had bad anger issues, people notice that in their life. So even if they weren't shouting your name from the rooftops, people ask them, what are you doing? And I'm telling you this from experience. I've seen this all the time in every single business that I've owned, because we've done businesses that were focused around mental health. I've done ones focused around acne. Again, I'm now in the autoimmune space. Every single time, it's the same thing. If you help people transform their condition, there's other things that happen to them that are more noticeable to the average person. Like, what I mean is, let's take an autoimmune condition. If someone has Hashimoto's thyroiditis, the average person might not understand that the person has Hashimoto's, right? Even if they can see some of the weight gain, or they know that their friend's complaining about cold hands and feet, or they see some of the hair thinning, they're not necessarily automatically understanding that, oh, this must be Hashimoto's or something like that, right? But what they do understand for sure is they see this person drop 20 pounds. They see the light come back in their eyes. They see the skin get a little healthier. They see the hair being a little thicker or fuller, right? If they're a woman, I admit I probably wouldn't notice that myself. But women definitely notice that stuff. So then they say, what are you doing? You look great. And when you've been told you look great, you have a tendency to want to tell the person exactly what you've been doing, right? As long as it's not, something crazy. So they're probably happy to tell you that, hey, I've been working with this functional practitioner and they really helped me out. So this is also how you get more referrals, all right? Which makes this a lot more scalable, a lot more predictable long-term. So let's get into our system for pricing packages. I call it the 4-tier package framework. And this is kind of interesting. So most of the packages that you ever sell are going to fall in tier 2 and tier 3. But I'm going to give you a tier 1. No one talks about this. Even in the paid programs, I know for a fact no one is talking about this one. And this one is always something that you should have for so many reasons. We'll talk about that. And then tier 4 is something that I do hear some programs talk about, but not nearly often enough. And that one can be kind of a lifesaver, especially if you're just starting out. So we'll show you guys this here. Let's start with the tier 1. We call this the wishful thinking package. This is going to sound funny, but it takes you literally less than an hour, probably even less than 30 minutes if I'm honest, to come up with this. And all you ever need to do is think about it. Okay? You just need to think about it. You don't actually have to create anything, because most of you are probably online practitioners. Even if you're a health coach in person, I doubt that you're physically working with the person, right? So it doesn't cost you anything to sell a package until the package is sold. I said better, it doesn't cost you anything to deliver on a package until the package is sold, right? So if you're a health coach that uses labs, for example, right, and there's $1,000 worth of labs in your package, you don't have to actually buy those labs, of course, until you already have sold the package. So it doesn't matter that the labs cost $1,000 because you charged $5,000. You had already priced in that $1,000 of that $5,000 goes to labs, right? Very simple. So this wishful thinking one, I know this is going to sound funny, but again, I use this for a variety of reasons. And we are going to go over the moon with this. If this package, this is where I'm going to freak you guys out. This is the only one, it's one of 2 that doesn't have a price on it. The reason I don't have the price here is because if you saw it, you would have clicked out right away. This wishful thinking package should be no less than $10,000 to $15,000. If you are doing less than $10,000 to $15,000, you have not thought this through. You might never sell one of these packages, by the way. But again, it takes none of your time to think about it. This is why you're going to have it. So what does the wishful thinking package look like? It is the dream price package. It's what you would charge if money were no object. And to think of that, you need to think of what you would do for your client if money were no object. It also assumes that you have ultimate credibility and authority in your space. Just think like that. And it establishes your absolute price ceiling. So that's going to be useful for a variety of reasons, which we kind of talk about on the right here. I'll get into that in a moment. What I want to talk about first is what the package should include. So when I say a dream price, I mean like this is something that the price is what you're basing off of a thought experiment where you give your client the ultimate experience, So if you have someone, let's use an autoimmune client, for example. If I have our stereotypical autoimmune client, which is almost always a middle-aged woman who is generally high achieving, super, super high stress, usually has kids or wants kids, is usually married or would prefer to be married, right? There's a lot going on and there's a lot on her plate. If I could give her the ultimate thing where she got to heal as fast as possible, right? Or I knew what she would do would help her heal as fast as possible. You know what I would do? I would fly out to their house. I would visit them for a couple of hours each day. I would try to look around and see like, all right, is there mold in this building? Right? I'm not an official mold inspector, but I might know better than the average person, so I can check that out. What chemicals are they using in their hair products and their makeup products that I can help them with? Can I teach them how to go shop at the store so that they understand instantly what a label that has healthy food looks like versus what a label that has toxic food looks like? Can I help them find the best food stores and other practitioners in their area? Would I want them to have a red light therapy device in their house? I'm biased towards that because my business in person with my wife was called Bucks County Light Therapy and Functional Medicine Center, so we had a bunch of red light therapy devices. I love them. Maybe you have a favorite gizmo or gadget that you like. You know what else I would do? I would love for that person to spend a week just going and taking a real vacation for the first time in their life. So you're getting what I'm saying, right? You could list this off in any way that you want. Maybe you'd want all supplements covered, all this kind of stuff. So your package might be $25,000 for something like this. But you got to think about it. If you were going to fly out, work with them directly for a week, help them with all that stuff, buy them devices that are going to be in the house, that's no small fee, right? Now, again, you're doing this for a couple of reasons. One, if you talk to enough people, you are going to talk to someone who has more money than you can comprehend. Okay? I'm not saying this rudely. I'm just saying if you are watching this, you are either extraordinarily frugal, which you might be, or maybe you don't want to spend the money on $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 business programs because you don't have that money to spend in a way that you don't even think about it. As someone who, I'm not saying I am at a level to spend $25,000 without thinking about it. That is not true at the time of recording this. But as I've gotten in deeper parts of the entrepreneur space, and I'm in the marketing space, right? I see all these things. There are people out there that have more disposable money than you could possibly comprehend. Okay? And there are stats on this, by the way. This is not something I'm just making up. For example, in America, 17% of people make over $100,000 a year. And you say, well, $100,000 a year doesn't make you rich all of a sudden. You're correct, but some of those people save $30,000 a year. Right? There's people that actually operate on things called a budget. I think it's over 20% of households in America technically have over $1 million net worth. The top 1% of Americans, which is still 3 million people, make over $600,000, $700,000 a year. Top 5% makes over like $200,000 a year. Okay? So I'm not saying this is everyone. I'm not saying everyone that makes that amount of money spends it intelligently. They might blow it every single year. I have no idea. I am telling you, though, for a fact that there are people out there that have more money than you can comprehend. And those people almost always are the same ones that because they are they're usually operating at a high level. Okay? They're in their business. They're doing their thing every single day. And they want fast and done for you. They want fast and done for you. They want the best of the best, the highest level service. Okay? So when you say it's $25,000, they don't care about the $25,000. They care about what it gets them. And when they find out, wait, you're going to show me how to shop so I'm not embarrassed by myself? You're going to take me to the gym for the first time, even though you're not a personal trainer, or you might be, who knows. But even if you're not, you're going to take me for the first time just so I'm not embarrassed? You're going to show my family how to read the labels so we can all get on board with this together? You're going to come out to my house and figure out which products are not great for me. You're going to order devices for my house. They're going to come set up and it'll be all good to go. You're going to take me on a vacation, or send me on a vacation rather, to a place approved by you to be super healthy, gluten-free, all that kind of stuff. Where do I sign? I promise you these people exist. So you have this just because you will feel foolish when that person walks through your virtual door and you are not ready for them. But here's the other sides of it, and this is where it's going to be even more beneficial to you. It anchors your entire pricing psychology. The more you understand that you offer a $25,000 service, the easier it gets to talk about your other products and services. I promise. I promise you it will be easier to do this. It prevents you also from underpricing your core offers, because we're thinking about our core offer pricing relative to our highest offering, and it makes your standard high ticket package feel reasonable by comparison. All right. So there's a time and place. You don't always have to list off this one on a call, but there's kind of there's a way to do it loosely. So like if I'm on a sales call, All right. And I know that I can help this person. I know that there's probably no probability where they are going to do a tier 1 package. I might say to them, and this is my wife's name, so I'll use her name. I'll be like, Maddie, you know what? I definitely believe I can help you. And I'm going to list off here kind of the best package that I think is ideal for your situation. I have a crazy one, by the way. Literally my highest one, don't worry, this is not what yours costs, but my highest one is $25,000. It is like a concierge service. I fly out to the person. We send you on vacation. We buy all these devices. We clean out your house. I mean, it's a nutty thing, right? So we're not going to talk about that today, but bam. All right, so that did a couple of things. I anchored the pricing for myself, so I feel more confident with the next number. I also anchored it for them. Because when I start with a $25,000 thing in their mind, even though I never offered that, and then I hit them with $5,000, that makes it feel better by comparison. This is not my opinion. There are tons of studies on this. You can look up on ChatGPT right now. You don't have to be even a scientist, right? You can go to ChatGPT and look up the studies on price anchoring. So this works on both you and the client. Tier 2. I'm not going to spend any more time on Tier 1. If you guys have questions about that, let me know. But something tells me half of you are not even going to do it, which makes me sad. But that's what you get when you do a free program. If you have questions about the Tier 1, or you want to do a rough draft and share with us what it's going to be like, drop it in the comments, or I'll also have this in the description. If you happen to not be a part of our Functional Practitioner Collective, it's a free group on Facebook where we all get to collaborate and talk. By the way, it's not only the business side in there. My business partner, who also happens to be just a clinical genius, that's why I'm business partners with him. His name is Ryan Monahan, and he helps out in there as well, answering your clinical questions. So if you are someone especially who uses labs or you have tricky client cases, he's the guy. And then we have this hive mind that basically helps out with all the things that come up in there. So yes, we answer questions, but also the group answers questions, which is really cool. So that's the Functional Practitioner Collective on Facebook. Check our YouTube description and you can join there. Again, it's free. Just make sure you accept the rules, please, because we do not allow promotion of people's products and services within that group. We find that annoying. So here's Tier 2. And this is going to be your standard high ticket package. Okay. So this is going to be the one that you are expecting most people to buy. This is going to be the one that allows you to offer the ideal, reasonable transformation to the average person. So what do I mean by ideal, reasonable? So if you go to someone's house in the Tier 1 thing, like I said, and do that something ridiculous like that, maybe that's ideal, but it's not reasonable. Right? There's a reason that you don't hear about that very often. It's because a lot of people can't afford it. Most people don't know to offer it. And it would be a crazy life to live if you were flying out to houses every other week doing that, right? You'd be making a lot of money. I guess that's fun, but like that is not a reasonable thing. So this package here is going to be ideal and reasonable, right? As ideal as it can be without literally going and flying across the country to your online clients' house. Okay, so we're leading with this one on every enrollment call. If you don't hit them with the Tier 1 thing, remember I kind of just gave you a line there that you can use to put it in in a way that feels very natural and organic. But at the very least, you're always starting with this one. It is priced high enough that you only need a handful of clients to hit your monthly income goal, right? And this is the package you will sell the most. It is the core engine of the business. So for that person who was in the comments last time talking about a $6,000 a month goal that they have, fantastic, man. You need two $3,000 a month clients or one $6,000 a month client. That is beyond reasonable to get that. You have a whole month to get one or two clients. I promise you that's possible. And then even for that person that had a $15,000 a month goal, that could be four $4,000 clients. I promise I'm not an idiot. I know that's $16,000 a month. I was just rounding it up. Or you could do something like three $5,000 packages, right? That would be nice and easy math. So you're talking 2 to 3, 4 clients gets you life-changing income here, and it allows you to facilitate a transformation with the person that's actually going to work for them. They're actually going to get the results. When you're able to charge these prices, you can work with the person enough to get them where they need to go. And you're not constantly stressed out about them paying you because, one, they paid, and two, you actually are able to put your food on the table because our organic gluten-free food is not free, right, folks? So this is a great place to be. This is what we want to offer. How do we figure out how to create something that's worth $3,000 to $8,000? And if $8,000 freaks you out, start on the lower end. It doesn't matter, right? You can always start on the lower end, and then when you start selling a bunch of people and they're super happy, raise the price. Wait, prove your own concept first and raise the price. But how do you get to this? Well, if you are someone that offers labs, this is extremely standard, right? Because we're going to utilize multiple labs, most likely. The way I was taught was certainly to utilize multiple labs. At the autoimmune recovery lab, if I'm not mistaken, I think all of the labs together are at least $1,000. It might be closer to like $1,200, $1,300. I don't make any money off those labs. Those are tools that we use, right? Those are tools that we use for the clients. They self-test, and we utilize the results to help them out even more, right? So we're already at $1,200 just to get in the game there. Well, now we need to get paid, and our coaches need to get paid, and we're going to be working with them over a 6-month period, most likely. And we're meeting with them every other week. So this is how you can start breaking this down and understanding that, one, you're giving more than enough value to justify this price, but two, you could start breaking down how this actually works and the time commitment necessary. So if I'm trying to create a package that's actually worth $4,000 or $5,000, okay, I'm going to have to work with them for multiple months. Most people are not going to want to do that for only 2 weeks of time, and that's not going to help the person, right? So let's figure out what is the minimum amount of time that you need to work with them to get better. To get them better, what needs to be given to them so that they can get better. You need to think all this through first. And then again, it's going to become obvious why you're able to charge these prices, but you need to start with this first. So if I have an autoimmune client that I don't know exists yet because I haven't met them, generally speaking, Ryan and I already knew what it takes. Well, one, it's going to take several months just to rearrange the habits, that's for sure. I'm definitely going to want them gluten-free. I need them running this set of labs that we utilize specifically for our folks with autoimmune conditions. I understand that almost always there's going to be external stressors in their life, and we're going to have to work on that to some degree. And I'm not a therapist, so I'm not trying to qualify myself for something that I shouldn't be qualified for. I'm saying that I'm going to have to help guide them in the right direction to find them a professional that can help them in that area. I also know that our clients normally have families, like I said. It is very tough to be the mom in the family if you got like a spouse and 2 kids, and then all of a sudden you come home one day and say, hey, this person I just spent $4,000 or $5,000 with told me I need to be gluten-free and the household needs to be gluten-free. That's not an overnight process, right? So I'm just giving off some basic stuff, right? You need to take the time to think about, okay, who is the client that I'm working with? And I'm sorry, because this was a tough one. I will be doing a video literally right after this one on niching down. So that'll be out this same week if you watched this on the day or two after this was recorded. So we will have it out very shortly. But it was like either pick between niching first or this first, and you could make an argument for both. So if you haven't figured out who you're working with, I will show you how to do that in the next video, and then you could come back to this part. But at the very least, if you have an idea already of like, okay, what is even remotely close to the type of person I'd want to work with? Do they have anxiety? Do they have acne? Do they have gut issues? Do they have autoimmune conditions like the people that we work with? What is the ideal situation, and what is going to be the minimum amount of time required to work with that individual to get them better? That's how you create the package. So we concluded, again, Ryan and I, we know that we're going to have to work with this person for, it's actually about like 4 to 6 months. We're probably going to have to meet with them every other week to do this. So you take, 4 months. How many weeks are in 4 months? Well, 6 months is easier, right? Because I can just divide 52 in 2. So there's 26 weeks in 6 months. So they're going to get 13 sessions. I also had to realize over time, okay, does the first session need to be as long as session 8 or vice versa, right? Does session 8 need to be as long as session 1? And the answer is no. We found that it's no. Clients don't even want it to be as long as session 1, because session 1 for us is always going to be the biggest. We do a results and recommendation session. So we're going over the entire plan. We're showing them the lab findings, all this kind of stuff. And then a lot of the next sessions are, yes, teaching them things, but sometimes course correcting, asking them how the last week went, all that kind of stuff. Another thing that you can offer, I highly recommend this because this is going to help you get, it's going to help you really get those testimonials, right? Because it's one thing to work with someone for 4 to 6 months when you know that there's going to be testimonials. It is a very sad thing that no health coach ever wants to work with someone for 4 to 6 months. The person didn't get the results. They don't leave you a testimonial. You feel terrible for taking their money, but now you've also put in a bunch of time. That's not a great way to do things at all, okay? So I recommend offering some type of very structured text support. So not tech, not T-E-C-H, text support, T-E-X-T. And what text support looks like is, here's an example. It might be Monday through Friday. You say that you're guaranteed to answer them at least once a day during that time, and so that they can ask you questions, right? Now, here's a little recommendation. Never give out your personal phone number. If you don't listen to anything else I said today, I would just recommend that. Don't give out your personal phone number to clients unless they paid you $25,000. Then you can give them your phone number. Everyone else, do not give your phone number. Use a separate app. Require it to be downloaded for working with you. So that could be like, if you don't use WhatsApp for anything, you could use WhatsApp. That's free. Voxer is also kind of a cool one because it allows the person to send audio messages very easily as well. So if they just want to send something on the go, that's fine. And Voxer's free plan is pretty good, and even the paid one is extremely cheap and would allow you to run a full practice. The reason that we recommend having this separate thing is because you are going to have to learn to put into your calendar, which we talk about in a separate video, put into your calendar, okay, I need to spend 30 minutes a day right now accessing my Voxer to honor the commitments I made to the clients. And what happens is that's going to scale up over time. As you get busier, you're going to realize it's taking more time. And then once you're down that road, if it gets too busy, you can start to talk about hiring other practitioners. Again, we will get to all of that when we get there. I know that might be over your head right now, but it will happen, right? So we need to know how much time we're actually spending answering Voxer every single day to help these people out. This is something that you need to use your best judgment with. You will fail at it eventually. I still fail at this to this day, okay? But it has been worth it more often than not that I try to do this when I can. So I will have my time on my calendar where I'm going to be answering people on Voxer or whatever platform our business happens to be using at that time, okay? I'll have my 30 minutes or whatever. If there is someone that I can tell has the social skills and emotional awareness to, they understand not how to abuse me as a coach, right? Because every now and then you get someone that, like, you have the structure. You're like, no, I answer once a day, because that means that you get to message me 5 days a week, right? Or sometimes 6 days a week, whatever. But I only answer once a day. Some people will send novels. They'll try to take advantage of that. They'll try to send multiple things and squeeze it into one. I promise you that this will not be the majority, but this does happen, right? But then there's going to be the people that you work with that you can tell they are really out there doing the work. They are being respectful of your time. They are being respectful of your boundaries that you set when you sign them up. This is not something that you hit them with last second, right? Like, you told them before they ever signed on that this is happening, and they're not there abusing it. There are times when my schedule allows where I will truly try to go above and beyond with those people if I'm able, okay? It does not make me a failure or unethical or not delivering on what I promised if I only do what I promised, which was I will answer at least once a day. That's going to be the bare minimum, is I answer once a day. If I answer twice or 3 times, or we have a full conversation that's above and beyond, again, you have to kind of read the room and learn which people to do that with, because some will take advantage of it. But the ones that don't, they fully deserve it, right? And then they're not going to do it forever. It's probably going to be like a little part that they have issues with. And when you help them get through that hump, man, they are going to succeed so much faster. And then they're going to be great testimonials, okay? So that's another important thing that you might want to consider for a package like this, because people will happily pay $4, $5, $6,000 when they know that they're being supported way more often than they would be at their naturopath's office, or certainly their Western medicine doctor, right? What does a Western medicine doc do? I mean, they'll meet with you for 15 minutes if they're lucky. And I'm not hating on the Western medicine folks. I mean, they kind of have to with their business model. It's just like, that's how it goes. Naturopathic doctor, generally speaking, is a little more. They might meet with you for an hour, but it's going to be $300 to $400 an hour just to talk to you, bare minimum. And then they're not going to meet you for another 2 weeks to a month. You're not going to be talking to them in between. So this is how you create a package that's actually worth it without spending a bunch of time. Because anyone can go make $4,000 if you're working for $10 an hour, right? You could just go work 100 hours, but then you run out of time and you have low energy. So this is how to give extreme value to your clients without having to spend a bunch of your time. Because I'll tell you this, if you have 10 clients, you are not spending more than an hour a day on Voxer. If you do, you have the wrong clients, or you set the wrong standard. It is way less than an hour a day, generally speaking, because people also have the same questions over and over again. Way less than an hour a day, generally speaking, that they're going to be doing that. So remember, you could have 10 active clients. These are people that paid you, let's say, bare minimum $3,000. You could be $30,000 in, and you're spending less than an hour a day, 5 days a week, supporting these people extra on text. It is extreme value to them because no one else offers that. Certainly not people charging $50 a session. They ain't offering that, right? But you're offering it. High value, low time commitment for you. That's another way that you can charge these types of prices because people like that extra support. So get creative with this. And remember, 2 things you can do. Either comment on this YouTube video directly or join our functional practitioner group. You can always ask me for feedback. I will help you for free. I will help you for free if you want to try to structure your packages here and get some feedback on it. Here's tier 3. This is the mid-tier package or mid-ticket. You can word it either way. It's generally going to be between $2 and $4 grand. And I know for some of you, like, wait, $4 grand's like my high-end package. That's more than my high-end package. That's fine. I'm just saying that for some people, $2 to $4 grand is going to be the mid-tier package. It is for us at the Autoimmune Recovery Lab. It's a little bit stripped down, okay? So how I typically recommend doing the mid-tier package is it's basically the same as this one, okay? Except less support. So this is really good for people who actually might be super committed, but don't have a ton of money right now. It might be good for people. I know this says not ready for full commitment. That just means in a monetary sense. Emotionally, they might be fully committed, but they just can't. They truly cannot do 6 or 7 or 8 grand. So they might be able to do 2,500. And you know what you can take away because of that? You can take away Monday through Friday tech support. You could change the session so that if it's like over 6 months that you're working with them for, let's say, 3 grand, instead of every other week, you do every other week for the first 2 months, and then it becomes once a month check-ins or once every 3 months. You can get creative with this, right? So you scale it down accordingly. How do you scale it down? How would I know if I scaled it down appropriately? Well, you got to know what you're putting into this one, right? So once you figure out how many sessions goes into this, you have a rough estimate of what your time is worth per hour. Once you understand how much time you're going to be spending on a tech support type of thing or preparing for the sessions, that's something else you need to consider, right? Then you can reverse from there and say, okay, my sessions are each worth, again, I'm making up a number that's probably not even accurate for this. Maybe my sessions are worth like $150 or $200 an hour. All right, so if I have 26 sessions, 13 sessions over 26 weeks in this one, I strip that down to 8 sessions here, and then I price that accordingly. So I'm still at the same hourly rate. I'm still in the game. I was able to just get a sale, though, and still help a person in a meaningful way. They're just going to get less support. So this one should be super easy to create once you have that tier 2 package, the high-ticket package. Here's tier 4. This is a little secret one. This is one I love. I call this one the Jumpstart. In fact, I typically name it that in the business. Like in our business at Autoimmune Recovery Lab, we call it the Jumpstart program. You can steal that. I don't care. It's not proprietary by any means. It's not trademarked. You can call yours the Jumpstart program. And there's a psychological reason we call it that. No one wants to perceive that they bought an inferior product, right? And we're not offering them an inferior product or service, right? That's the problem. So we don't want them to perceive something that's negative when it's not even true. But the Jumpstart is also not meant to replace a complete package. So this is distinct from tier 2 and tier 3, right? The high ticket and mid ticket respectively, right? And tier 1's that dream ticket one. So in tier 2 and tier 3, fundamentally, you're getting the same things. You're getting the same labs. You're getting enough support that it should be able to help you. You're just not getting the over-the-top support, right? Like you can't be at a restaurant asking me, hey, is this gluten-free? And expect me to answer in any reasonable amount of time. I'm not going to do that for $2 grand over a 6-month period, right? So this one's a little different. The Jumpstart or minimum package is going to be the absolute minimum you accept to work with someone price-wise. It's also not a discount, all right? It is not a discount. The key with this package is structuring it in such a way that people can add on the other elements later. That's the key here. It's structuring the package in such a way that people can add on the other elements later. And if a prospect can't meet your minimum, they are not your client. I have some tricks up my sleeve that you can utilize for people that can't even do this, because as you get more into business, that will happen. But you guys aren't there yet. That's why you're watching this, right? So that's not even relevant right now. We will talk about that down the road. For right now, your only job is to create these 4 packages, and the most effort should go into the tier 2 high ticket package, because then you can reverse engineer from there. So what does a jumpstart look like? Okay. First of all, we're not going out and talking about the jumpstart on the sales call right from the beginning. This is something that you use after you have tried everything else, or one other situation, which we'll talk about. So situation A is we have tried everything else, financing, they're getting denied, they can't afford it. It really, truly is an objection of, I cannot afford this. Okay, I still want to help the person though. So our Jumpstart package, I will be transparent with you, at Autoimmune Recovery Lab is only $1,500, and it includes a lab test. Now, we only give 3 sessions. The first session is not that long. It's like an hour, and the next 2 sessions are 30 minutes a pop. Okay, that's it. There's no support in between. It's not that. And it focuses on the dietary aspect. That is another key here. So some people will argue this differently if they know about this strategy. I do not think that's a good idea. I think the Jumpstart one, starting with the dietary stuff, is the way to do it, because every client that you work with, you're going to want them editing something in their diet or trying something in their diet, right? Because you're a health coach. You understand that diet is one of the main things that leads to either positive or negative health outcomes, depending on what we're eating or not eating, right? You understand? So with the Jumpstart, we want to start with the diet stuff for a couple of reasons. We're going to get them good results. Right? If someone is eating like crap, or just not eating optimally, or they don't understand that if you have an autoimmune condition, you probably should have done at least 2 months without gluten and given it an honest shot before you continue to start eating it again. And by the way, if I had an autoimmune condition, I would never, which I have, I would never eat gluten again voluntarily. I'm just saying, like, they don't know that, right? So people can be more advanced on the dietary stuff and still not know anything compared to us. They just might be more advanced for the average person or compared to the average person. So we help them with that. The tests that we're going to utilize usually, if not always, have something to do with diet. I know not everyone likes food sensitivity testing. We use food sensitivity testing. So we're going to help them create a structured program that they can start with the diet stuff, and then they start feeling better. The other thing that we will do in these sessions, if it is relevant, is some of the lifestyle stuff, right? So I can't tell you how many times you get someone where their diet might be half decent, but they're still going to bed at 1 a.m. and waking up at 8. Okay, well, I'll tell you, I don't need anything else to tell you right there that that's not a good idea. So I'm going to help them with some of the fundamental lifestyle things and the fundamental dietary things in this Jumpstart program. On the 3rd session, we are going to ask them, hey, how you feeling? Right? And I try to do this over 45 days, okay, because it's going to be every 2 weeks. So from the time that they buy, right, they're going to get the lab test that you're utilizing for this, and let's call that 2 weeks before we get the test results back and we meet with them again. So that's 2 weeks, and then that's the real start, if you will. So then it's 2 weeks for that, to get the lab test results, another 2 weeks to meet with them for the follow-up session, course correct, see how they're doing, add in other lifestyle stuff if everything's going great. They're like, nope, I nailed my sleep. I did awesome. Diet's going great. Okay, fantastic. What other things can we do on the lifestyle thing for them? And then another 2 weeks is going to be the final session, right? Where we do the final check-in, dot the I's, cross the T's. And this is also going to be where we pitch them on our higher program. This is why we are not starting off with the Jumpstart on any of our sales calls, because everyone would start here. We do not want that. Okay? So on that 3rd session, what we'll be talking to them about is, okay, how much better are you feeling? And if you have some type of tracker that you use for this, I know some of the certification programs out there help you kind of create an objective way of tracking your client's progress. If you do not have that, I would get that ASAP somehow. Just create one yourself with AI, even if you have to start there. Tell AI that you want to create that and have it ask you questions that would help you understand how much better your client got so that they can see something objective. Maybe they say to you, this is very realistic, yeah, I'm feeling 30, 40% better. Oh, that's awesome. So you're feeling 30, 40% better, and we only did about 20% of the program that I offer. Are you ready to do the other 80%? And how this works is this. So I'm going to make up some pricing really quick for you. Let's say our top tier package was $5,000. So not the dream one, but the tier 2. $5,000 for that. And I just sold them a Jumpstart a couple of months ago at $1,500. So on that third session, what I would charge them to get into the next program is $3,500. I am charging them the difference and the difference only. I am not punishing them for not getting it beforehand. And you say, well, that's stupid, right? That was a waste of your time then, right? I mean, you could argue that all day, or do you want your $3,500? It's right. I want my $3,500. I want this person to get the full transformation and actually finish what they started. So I'm not here to argue that. If they're going to pay me the $3,500 right there, that's great. That's worth my time, right? So we are offering them that next level there. Now, how do you even preface this on the sales call? And of course, I hope this is clear, guys. This video here is not a full sales training. I just know that these questions are going to come up, so I'm trying to get to them before they're ever asked. When we're on the sales call, if we get to the point that we're even offering the jumpstart, this is always how you say it. I say this same thing every single time. I'm like, all right, well, I do have one other thing that I can offer. It's called our jumpstart, and I want to be very realistic about this, right? You know that I can't offer guarantees or cures or anything. That's not ethical. That's not what I do here. I'm not a miracle worker. I am someone that understands the body very well, and I help you identify these kind of root cause things, because we know that when we get those better, the body tends to heal itself naturally, right? Just like it heals a paper cut, just like it heals a broken bone, it can heal from these disease states when we're giving it the right things or taking away certain things from the body, depending on what we're talking about. We know that it can heal, right? So, Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so, the last thing that I could possibly offer you here is our Jumpstart. And we reserved this program for people like you. So how this works is exactly as the name implies. It is a Jumpstart. So I know for you, you either don't have the funds right now. I'm kind of not directly saying this to them, right? But I'm thinking about this out loud so that you can list off whatever the reason is. You don't have the funds right now. Or maybe, let's just be real, maybe you're a little skeptical. You've gotten burnt by other people. I get that. I am so confident, though, that I can help you that I will do this package with you, explain the package, for $1,500. And I want to be clear about something. I just said I can't guarantee anything, right? So I can't guarantee that you're going to get 100% better no matter what we do. I definitely cannot guarantee it for this package. It is a jump start. So if you are the first person ever that gets 100% better from doing this program, awesome. You'll leave me a great testimonial, right? And of course they laugh and they say yes. And that would be amazing. God bless them if they get 100% better off a Jumpstart program. So you say, you'll leave me a video testimonial or something, right? They'll say yes and laugh, whatever. I'll say, I'll be realistic about what my goal is. My goal with this Jumpstart is it's about 20% of the program that I normally do. I expect you to feel about 30% better after the time working together. Okay, so if it's more than that, again, awesome. But I expect about 30%. So what I'm going to do with this program is if you start with this one, we'll go through this work together. I'm going to be able to show to you through results that you get that I know what I'm talking about and that I was able to get you 30, 40% better with the stuff that we talked about. And then you can choose to upgrade with me at the end of that. Does that sound good? And of course, guys, not everyone's going to say yes to this, but it is a very useful package to have. And do you notice what I did there? I set the stage before we ever even took the money from the person. So I clearly stated that I am trying to get you as better as I can, as much better as I can. And if and when we get to that third session, if you do this package, I am going to offer you my higher tier package and we'll pay the difference. I also make the joke, because it's not a joke, it's something that doesn't really happen, unfortunately. I'd love for it to happen. But if we take the route of, oh, you get 100% better, just leave me a video testimonial. So I've already set the stage for both scenarios, and there's no reality where this person should not get 30% better or feel 30% better subjectively. Otherwise, you don't know what you're doing, right? That's a coaching certification problem, not a problem from not having the right business skills. You need to be able to do the calls in such a way where you are figuring out, okay, where is this person at in their life? What are they doing? And what can I offer that's going to help them feel about 30%? That's something that you need to know from your certification, right? Or your training. So that is quite a lot here. That should do it for today. And this covered all the different packages. So just in summary, right? We talked about our wishful thinking package. This is going to be your crazy one. Should never be less than 10 grand because you're not offering enough if it's less than 10 grand. It's got to be more than that. There might be 5-10 grand in expenses just from this package alone. It takes you 30 to 60 minutes to figure out what this package would look like, how much everything would cost. You only have to do it one time. And the day that you sell this, even if it's 3 years after you heard this message, you're going to be like, that Ev guy, man, he was eccentric, but he's all right. He is all right. My $20,000 check says so. Tier 2, this is going to be your standard high ticket package. This is the one that we spend the most time on. How many sessions do you need to give a person who is your ideal client, for them to get better? What labs, if you use labs, do you need to utilize for them to get better? Are there supplements involved? Are you going to include that in the program or not? Do you want to be one of those people that offers text support? I highly recommend it, so that you can have that extra edge off other coaches. Just something to think about, okay? You spend the most time on this one, and once you understand the pricing for everything and you kind of jot that down and put it all together, then you can figure out your mid-tier package almost instantly, because you just scale everything back and then you price it accordingly. And then the Jumpstart program. Again, I recommend a dietary thing here. That's my opinion. I apologize too. This is what you get for free though on YouTube, right? I apologize. I forgot the second version of when you would use this one. It's very simple. The second one where I use the Jumpstart is if someone happens to be calling me and is completely on the standard American or standard Western, you could even say, because I know that we'll have international listeners to this. The standard Western diet or standard Western lifestyle, I always offer them the Jumpstart. So what does that mean? This is someone that might be very open to the functional side of things, but they might be coming like off of fast food 3-4 days a week. They might still be drinking every night. Maybe they're smoking cigarettes, smoking pot, whatever they're doing. We're not here to judge them for that. It's just, I think it's unethical to sell them a higher ticket package at that point, right? If they have done so little in terms of changes that they still think eating McDonald's 3 to 4 days a week is acceptable, again, we're not judging them for that. But here's a question, guys. We don't know, like, how much better are they going to feel when they just change the diet stuff around and some basic lifestyle things? Maybe stopping eating McDonald's and getting to bed at 10, all of a sudden they feel great, and that's all they ever need. So that is the second version of who I offer this Jumpstart to, okay? So yes, this one is going to be your minimum package. It's not a discount. It is not a discount. It is a partial part of the program reserved exclusively for those that you have already went through the entire sales call with and nothing else is working. They're just not ready to do the bigger one. And you start here prefacing that on that third session, you are going to offer them the higher tier package to finish the job that you started. Or if they somehow get 100% better, they have to leave you a video testimonial. You say that jokingly, right? You're not going to put that in writing, but that kind of eases a lot of the tension there. Or the person is still on a standard Western diet or lifestyle. I think this was more than enough for today. If you guys have questions about this, again, 2 ways to find me. Use the YouTube comments. I'd really prefer that because that would probably help boost up the YouTube thing in the algorithm. So that'd be nice. This YouTube channel, that is. You also are more than welcome to go to the Functional Practitioner Collective. Even if you don't want to ask questions there, definitely hop in that group. It's quite active, increasingly so. We have over 500 coaches that are already in there with varying degrees of expertise. We got people that are brand new. We got people that have literally been doing this for over 15 years. So it is great to have all sorts of people in one place helping out with the wisdom that comes with years of experience, and then also the novelty that comes with people that are learning new things, right? So make sure you are subscribed. Please like the video. We appreciate the support there. And again, if you guys have questions, go to those 2 places. Let me know once you are done creating your packages. Thanks.